So I then quit my day job working with Jamaica producers and started Port Royal based on this business plan and a true belief that I could do a better job than what was currently being offered. So yeah, we went away. We got investors. Mothers are our partners in Jamaica. They knew how to make patties, and they helped me formulate the pastry and the fillings. It was a big gamble because we invested quite a lot of money from the get go, and then I had to find the sales to satisfy that investment.
Edward Johnston, you are the CEO and founder of one of the most well-known UK Caribbean food brands, Port Royal Patties. If I go to Tesco's or I go to Asda or I go to Morrison's, in the world food section, you'll always see Port Royal. So thank you so much for coming onto the platform.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So the first question I'd like to ask you is, what was the defining moment that ignited your entrepreneurial journey? And how did the family business concepts come about?
I've grown up in a business environment. My great-grandfather started Jamaica Producers. Well, it was called Jamaica Banana Producers then. He was one of the founders. So we used to export bananas from Jamaica into the UK, ripen them here, and sell them to the supermarkets. That's what the company basically did. And they'd import yam and other things also, but mainly bananas. So that was my great-grandfather. Then my grandfather worked in that company, and my father now is still the chairman of that company. It's one of the biggest companies in the Caribbean. So I've always grown up around business and talk of business and shipping, transport, farms, and also supermarkets, especially UK supermarkets, how they handled bananas and other commodities. So I think I remember having a conversation with my mum when I had a tooth under my pillow. I said, "Did the tooth fairy form a business? You know, how's she going to pay me?" So I've always just been around business, and I've always aspired to be a businessman.
And following on from that, how did the concept of Port Royal Patties come about? Could you just tell us a bit about that?
I've always eaten patties in Jamaica, and I wasn't very happy with the patties that were being sold over here, especially in the supermarkets at the time. And I thought I could do better. I went and did an MBA at City University, and as part of the coursework, I did a project about a patty business. So it was a business plan for opening a patty business, and it got a very good grade. So I then quit my day job working with Jamaica producers and started Port Royal based on this business plan and a true belief that I could do a better job than what was currently being offered. So yeah, we went away. We got investors. Mothers are our partners in Jamaica. They knew how to make patties, and they helped me formulate the pastry and the fillings. It was a big gamble because we invested quite a lot of money from the get go. And then I had to find the sales to satisfy that investment, which was a lot of pressure, as opposed to starting on a small scale, making them by hand, and then trying to scale it up. So we just went straight to big wholesale scale. So I got into Asda first, and then Tesco, and then Morrison's, and yeah. That's how we started.
And can you just tell me about the journey of how you got your patties into Asda, into Tesco's, into Morrison's? Because lots of people have brilliant ideas, but they don't know how to get those ideas on the shelves of stores. So can you just tell us a bit about that?
Well, the first thing I realized is the factory needed to be accredited. And I did some research to find out what type of accreditation, what it would cost. And so we started doing that. The first people we got to help us weren't the perfect choice, so it took us a bit longer than it should have. Then we eventually found the way to get accreditation. We use SALSA. SALSA is an accreditation that the supermarkets desire. So once I got that, before I got that, I went to a food show called IFE, and a lady from Asda was very impressed with the audience outside of our booth, the people clamoring for the patties. So she goes, she goes, I'm from Asda. Are you accredited? And I said, no, but we're working on it. She goes, here's my card. When you have your certification, your accreditation, call me. And then around the same time, a friend of mine was doing a recruitment drive outside of Asda in Leighton. So Asda paid him, or Asda allowed him to sell his Trinidadian rotis outside Asda to help them get staff to come in. It was like a bit of a carnival day. Mm-hmm. So we sat next to him in our booth selling patties. He said Trinidadian rotis, and another guy was doing jerk chicken. And the manager came out of the Asda and said, wow, these are so good. You know, can you sell them in the store? And I said, well, yes. So the buyer and that manager got together and we had a trial in 3 Asda stores. And we could not have done it without the accreditation and the proper procedures. So that's my advice to anybody trying to break into the supermarkets. Do your homework and get certified. And then from there, we went quickly into about 30 Asdas. And then Tesco started to notice us. I went back to the same show, and then Tesco came up to me, the buyer, because you need to get the buyer's attention. So the buyer came up to me and said, you know, I'm Mr. Tesco. So we tried a few Tesco stores, and Tesco went very big very quickly. We're not nationwide, but we're in about 300 stores. And then Morrison's came after.
And even discussing that point, one thing that I'd like to just talk about a bit more is when I was doing research on Port Royal patties in 2011, you sold was it about 2 million, something like that?
Pounds
Yeah. So how has that changed in 2024? Because that's nearly roughly about 12 years on from that moment. So what's the growth of the company looking like now?
We're going to hopefully hit 4 million soon.
Big increase. And one thing I'd like to also get to know is what we'd like to know more about Edward Johnston, the person. Please tell us a bit about you.
I don't know what to say. I have a wife. I have 2 sons. I have a big family in Jamaica. Lots of cousins and uncles, aunts. Lots of friends in Jamaica still. I'm very much a Jamaican who tries to go back as much as possible. But I'm a Londoner. I've been here for 30 years. I love what I do. I love making patties and just being around food. And I have a really good team around me, so it's nice to come into work. Everybody kind of pulls their weight, and you know, things are working as they should at the moment anyway. That's it really. I enjoy myself in London, but I'd like to see myself back in Jamaica a bit more as I get older. Looking to build. We're going to France with patties now.
Wow. Yeah. So
this month we're sending 12 pallets on a trailer, a frozen trailer. So as I say in Jamaica, trailer load of patties going to France for the Olympics.
Wow.
Should be very, very exciting. So yeah, I'd like to be able to travel over there now that we have a market over there and spend some time in France and Europe a bit more. I like to travel.
And another incredible thing about you is that you've kept family at the heart of your business. Why did you believe the family ethos needed to be the center of Port Royal Patties?
My mother came over from Jamaica in 2015 and started working with us from the day we started. And it's just a nice feeling to be able to work with family members, I think. She passed away in 2015, sadly, but she had a good, nice run with us. And my brother came over a bit after her. So he's been with us for 7 years. Aaron, he does our marketing and our social media and all the graphic designs. And he's doing a really good job. And my father he's still in Jamaica, but he's the chairman. He coming over next week. And we have Zooms once a week just to go over the financials. So yeah, I like working with family, and it can be difficult if you're arguing and you're not getting along, but it's also rewarding because you're looking after each other, and So as long as everybody treats everybody with business respect, then it can really work.
And thank you so much for sharing that with us. And another incredible thing about your company is that it's grown in so many different markets. It's not just in the UK, but it's also, I believe, in Jamaica, across Europe. So please just tell us, since the company's started, where is Port Royal Patties operating now? And what different types of industries are you in? Because you're not just in patties, you're also in ready-made meals as well.
Yes. Just to be clear, we're not in Jamaica.
Oh, you're not in Jamaica? Okay.
No, our partners, our mothers just recently sold to another company.
Mm-hmm.
So before they sold, we didn't even think of going to Jamaica. And I still don't think we would go to Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have those three big players down there, Tasty, Juicy Beef, Mothers. I'm concentrating on Europe, which, as I said, we're conquering this month, I think. Not conquering, but we're beginning to get a foothold in. We are in ready meals, which are great. They're really good meals. And we're going to start a mail order service next month. So we can mail you patties or meals anywhere in England. And I eventually hope to do that in Europe. But for now, our UK mail ordering service is going to be up in about 2 months, I think.
Wow.
And we're also doing a Deliveroo kitchen from our site here in Wembley.
Okay.
So our jerk chicken is phenomenal. We do our own jerk chicken, from scratch, sorry. And it's very fresh. It tastes very good. Rice and peas, curry mutton, oxtail, the classics. We're working on curry mutton pie, like an English pie, but with curry mutton inside, and a jerk chicken pie. So people who they like their pies, which I do. I like pies. It'd be a nice, interesting addition to the menu.
That's really interesting, actually. And how did you get the idea of having like your own food delivery type of service? Where did you see the opportunity in taking that approach?
Well, there's a few companies doing it, so I'm not going to lie and say it's my original idea. But I think our food is better than what's out there, and I think it'll be successful. I mean, if you get a mail order of our frozen meals, I think you'll be happy. We're also going to do a smaller version, like a 400-gram meal for people who don't want a bigger meal, and mainly elderly people, I think.
Mm.
And we might discount that. So if you can prove that you're on welfare or you're elderly and poorly, like health-wise, then we can mail you out jerk chicken, rice and peas, the classics. And you can have them in your freezer and then eat them when you need to. Because a lot of people have problems cooking this type of food.
Something that's particularly inspiring about you is you're not just an entrepreneur, you're someone of Jamaican heritage as well. One thing I'd like to ask you is, how do you think your success challenges stereotypes about the Caribbean community? Because I myself am from a Caribbean background, but when we see people like you, it challenges that stereotype. So please just tell us a bit about your thoughts on it.
Yeah, Jamaican businessmen are quite sharp and very, what's the word? They have a very strong corporate structure in Jamaica. If you're a banker or you're in the corporate field in Jamaica, they don't mess around. They're on time, very good, hard working people, very intelligent. Then you get this other stereotype of always late and not doing their accounts properly and that kind of thing. So there are different levels of Jamaican. I can't speak for other islands. I can only speak for Jamaica, really. There are lots of different levels of business going on in Jamaica. And I think I was exposed to a very high level from young. And then I came over here and I worked with some European companies who did not mess around. You get to work in time, unless you're on death's door, especially the Dutch. I worked with a Dutch shipping company. And the Dutch don't mess around. They're very, very on it. So I think I got into good habits from young. And it kind of pervades in my business. So if you're not doing your work, then sorry, go somewhere else. But here or on time. Being on time is very important. People's time is important. My time is important. Your time is important. Our Zoom started exactly at 2:00. You were courteous enough to call me and say, listen, can we extend it? Those are the kind of things that sometimes Caribbean people don't do. But I think the more and more they're realizing that these things are important.
Another interesting thing about entrepreneurship and food is, don't know if you read the article, but Jamie Oliver decided to come up with an idea called jerk rice.
Oh, God, I remember that. Yeah.
Other chefs are following the same thing. So they're trying to reimagine traditional Caribbean dishes.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, as I said, I'm doing a jerk chicken and a curry mutton pie. So there's nothing wrong with pushing it a bit, as long as you recognize it is what it is. It's a hybrid. It's a change from the normal classics. Our Deliveroo kitchen has classic meals: curry mutton, oxtail. The oxtail has butter beans in it, and you can have an argument whether the oxtail should have carrots or not. So there's always going to be a little bit of discourse and conversation around what is a classic dish and what's not. But I think, if you start going too far, then it doesn't make sense. If I put Indian fillings into my patty to satisfy the Indian community, it may or may not work, and I don't think it's going to work, because they have samosas, we have patties. And if you try and confuse things, it becomes a creature of no name and no home, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, jerk rice is just an example of a bad case gone wrong, or a good case of something that you shouldn't do.
Another thing I wanted to ask you is, so I'm going to Jamaica next year. What are 3 top spots that you need to visit when you're in Jamaica?
My favorite is Port Antonio, which is on the northeast coast of the island. It's very hard to get to by car, or there's no planes in there really. But it's very sleepy and just beautiful. It just really slows you down. Things don't really happen when they should in terms of time, but you don't want it to, because you're just chilling. Then the more party and excitement is in the grill. I love the grill also, but it's a bit more fast, a bit more touristy. And then I also like Treasure Beach, which is another hidden. Port Antonio and Treasure Beach are kind of not really that known, but they're very, very cool. So Treasure Beach has a Jake's, my good friend Jason Hensel's hotel. So that's like a celebrity hidden jewel. Ocho Rios is making a big comeback. Ocho Rios is a very close link, because of the highways now, to Kingston. So Ocho Rios is also a good destination. Rockabessa, I could go on actually. Rockabessa is just outside of Ochi, in between Port Antonio. A lot of new good places are coming up in Jamaica. Where are you going to go, you think?
So we haven't decided yet. We're deciding from different places at the moment, but when I finalize it, we might do an interview again and talk about that. And the next thing I'd like to ask you is, what are your top 3 dishes? So if there were 3 dishes that you could have right now, what would they be? Jamaican
dishes, obviously.
Of course.
Right, because just I've been eating a lot of Jamaican food recently, just in my own kitchen, testing everything. If it's in the evening and I'm going to just relax and go to sleep, oxtail. If I eat oxtail during the day, then it's just like, you just want to sleep. But I love oxtail. Curry mutton again, and jerk chicken. So those 3, and my patties. I mean, I love a beef patty. If you're on the go and you just want something quick, beef is my favorite, and then the beef and cheese. So those are my favorite Jamaican foods. Oh, ackee and saltfish, which we don't do yet, but ackee and saltfish is to die for. Mackerel rundown. With some green bananas. I'm getting hungry now just talking about it.
And it's actually really exciting that you talked about kind of like selling patties at the Olympics because the Olympics are coming up.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, how do you think Jamaica are going to do this year?
I haven't been following it that closely, but I hear the women are doing really well, and the men have a bit of work left to do to be on the world stage. Am I right? I'm not sure. So I don't want to say something out of turn, but I heard the women are doing really well.
Yeah, they are.
And it's going to be exciting to see them perform. Jamaica House is going to be there. I think Jamaica has a house to celebrate, and all the Parisians and all the Jamaicans in the area are going to focus on that. And I think Nike has a house that's working with the Jamaica Tourist Board. So Paris is going to be on fire, I think. The Jamaicans are going to be on fire in Paris.
Definitely. And another question I'd like to ask you is, Port Royal has been running for over 15 years.
No, it's 24 years.
24 years?
We started in 2000.
Oh, wow. 24 years. That's amazing. So where do you envision the company being in 5 years' time?
Double the size we are now, hopefully. Why not?
On what types of markets are you looking to expand into?
Europe, as I said, mail order, expand into more supermarkets than we are. Hopefully the supermarkets will start seeing that we're not just Caribbean or we're not just halal, but we can be spread out to areas where these cultures are not. So Europe and more expansion in the UK.
Please tell us about any other projects or ventures that you're going to be delivering this year.
If Deliveroo is working well from this side. So we just want to see it settle in, and then we might do some more dark kitchens with our food. So you can be in Chelsea and order all the Jamaican food you need, or eventually down in Cornwall, maybe that dark kitchen down there. Why not? If you're on a beach and you want a Jamaican patty, you should be able to or get it in Cornwall.
And the last question I'd like to ask you is, it's been 75 years since the Windrush, over 75 years now since the Windrush generation arrived in the UK. How do you think the legacy of the Windrush generation opens up doors for Jamaican entrepreneurship in the UK?
Well, I've just read Tony Fairweather's book on the Windrush. I think it's called 28 Shillings.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it really, really good book. Kind of very eye-opening. So yeah, all those individuals on the Windrush were basically entrepreneurs and risk takers. So they started the way for a lot of us here now. I mean, I think, somebody on that boat probably started the first Jamaican patty company way back in the 50s. So total respect to them. And I think their spirit continues in the generation we have now.
Thank you so much for such an amazing interview, Edward. It's been amazing just to interview you and get to know more about you. So thank you so much for coming onto the platform.
It's been an honor. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.